Shedeur Sanders showed up to Browns training camp and didn't just perform. He dominated. Yet the moment he started gaining real attention, a vague injury report pulled him off the field. NFL insiders are now calling it out for what it is, a tactical benching wrapped in a lie. The move has ignited outrage from fans and analysts alike, not just because it looks fake, but because it fits a familiar pattern, a team using phantom injuries to sideline a player they can't control. What makes this worse is who Sanders is, a charismatic, marketable, high-performing rookie who doesn't play by the league's silent rules. In the Browns' world, that's more threatening than any opponent on the schedule.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
By benching Sanders under the guise of an injury, the Browns have made one thing crystal clear. Control matters more than talent. His removal isn't about health or safety. It's about fear. Fear of change. Fear of disruption. Fear of a rookie quarterback proving that everything about how the franchise has been run needs to change. And when the league turns a blind eye to that kind of manipulation, it's not just the Browns who are complicit. It's the NFL itself. This isn't a simple roster decision. It's a coordinated effort to keep power in the hands of those who fear being exposed by someone better. The Cleveland Browns just sparked one of the most bizarre controversies of the NFL season. And no, it's not about a bad play call or a wild locker room rumor. It's about deception. More specifically, the kind of behind-the-scenes manipulation that makes fans furious, analysts confused, and insiders whispering behind closed doors. Because right now, all eyes are on rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders, and not because of his on-field performance. No, it's because of the exact lack of it. According to reports, and a rapidly growing outrage online, the Browns allegedly benched Sanders under the pretense of a fake injury. Yep, you heard that right. A talented rookie quarterback gets sidelined, not because he's limping, not because a hit gone wrong, but because what? He was too good? Too disruptive to the franchise's fragile power structure? This isn't just another case of rookie hazing or slow player development. This is something much deeper, and frankly much messier. Because if the Browns did fabricate this injury, it speaks volumes. Not just about their internal dysfunction, but about the way the NFL protects its old systems at the cost of real talent. Let's rewind a bit. Shedeur Sanders showed out during training camp. Analysts were impressed. Teammates reportedly noticed his presence. Fans saw the clips and were excited. The kid had charisma, control, and confidence. The kind of energy that makes you think, okay, this guy, he might actually shake things up. But then, silence. Whispers of an injury started floating around. Vague, unconfirmed, suspiciously timed. No specific diagnosis. No visible discomfort. Just a slow disappearance from reps and team action. Like someone flipped a switch behind the scenes and decided Sanders needed to be put on ice. Fast. This is where it starts to feel less like football and more like PR theater. Because what followed wasn't transparency. It wasn't honest updates or a clear medical timeline. It was ambiguity. The kind of calculated vagueness that lets a franchise control the story without answering a single tough question. And fans noticed. Fast. Social media lit up. From casual viewers to NFL diehards, people were asking, what happened to Shedeur Sanders? Why is a young quarterback with obvious upside suddenly getting buried in the depth chart with no real explanation? Theories flew, and one stood out. The Browns aren't protecting Sanders. They're protecting themselves. There's a growing belief that the injury excuse was a strategic move, that the franchise is scared of what Sanders represents. A shift, a challenge, a new face that fans actually want to see. And maybe, just maybe, a threat to the carefully controlled quarterback pecking order the team's already invested in. If that's true, it's not just manipulative. It's cowardly. Let's call it what it is. Sabotage. Not the dramatic, throw the playbook kind, but quiet, systemic sabotage. The kind that happens behind closed doors with injury reports and backroom whispers. And this isn't just about one rookie QB. This is about a league that lets stuff like this happen. Because here's the hard truth. The NFL has a transparency problem. And it's not just bad optics. It's a real issue that damages the credibility of the sport. When a team can bench a promising player using a fake injury narrative, and the league shrugs, it tells you everything you need to know about where the power really lies. And it's not with the players. Sanders isn't just any player, either. He's media savvy, charismatic, and marketable. He knows how to engage a fan base. He's young, talented, and comes with a ready-made storyline. That kind of energy should be gold for a team that struggled for decades to build a lasting identity. Instead, the Browns treat him like a threat, like his very presence risks disrupting the status quo. And maybe it does. Maybe that's the point. Because what Sanders represents is more than just fresh legs on the field. He represents a culture shift, one the franchise clearly isn't ready for. His sidelining looks less like caution and more like suppression, a move designed to keep things predictable and controlled, even if it means stalling actual progress. You'd think the NFL would step in. That someone, anyone, would raise an eyebrow at this kind of strategic benching. But no, the league stays silent. No investigation, no transparency, no accountability, just business as usual. And if you're thinking, hey, maybe they're just being cautious with a rookie, let's not pretend we haven't seen this before. Teams pull these kinds of moves all the time, burying talent to protect a veteran, slow-walking development to maintain narrative control, or in this case, outright hiding a player because they're too disruptive, too ready, too liked. It's not just petty. It's short-sighted. The Browns have been stuck in a cycle of underachievement for years. And now that they have a chance to develop someone with real potential, they're choosing to play defense. Not on the field, but in the front office. This isn't football management. This is performative control. A curated storyline that lets the team say, see, we're protecting our future, while actively delaying it. And it's not just frustrating, it's insulting. To Sanders, to the fans, to anyone who actually believes in talent development and fair competition. Because let's be real, if Sanders wasn't seen as a threat, this wouldn't be happening. The Browns aren't fooling anyone. This isn't about a pulled hamstring or precautionary rest. It's about power. It's about keeping the spotlight off someone who could easily steal it, and maybe even earn it. That's what makes this entire situation feel gross. It's a fake injury, yes, but it's the why that stings. This isn't about safety. It's about silence, about control, about a team so insecure in its own direction that it would rather sideline a star than deal with what a success might say about their failures. And Sanders? He's stuck in the middle, watching his momentum stall, while the franchise drags its feet and the league looks away. It's a reminder of how hard it is to break through when the system is designed to keep things comfortable. This isn't just a bad decision. It's a missed opportunity. For the Browns, for the fans, for the league. Sanders could be a face of the future. And instead of nurturing that, they're trying to bury it. The NFL can't keep pretending that this kind of manipulation is normal. Because it's not. It's corrosive. It hurts the game. It hurts the players. And worst of all, it teaches every young athlete watching that sometimes, no matter how hard you work, the system will find a way to push you back down. All because you're a little too exciting, a little too disruptive, a little too ready. And for the Browns, this whole situation is just one more brick in the wall of dysfunction. One more reminder that behind the draft picks and hype videos, there's a franchise still too afraid to embrace change, still too busy playing defense against its own future. Shedeur Sanders deserved a real shot, not just to play, but to grow, to prove himself, to take a swing at greatness. But instead, he's stuck behind a story the Browns are too scared to change. Let's not forget this moment, because the next time someone asks why the NFL struggles to evolve, why fresh talent feels stifled, why fans get jaded, this is exactly why. If you're tired of this kind of drama and manipulation in the league, let us know what you think in the comments. Do you believe the Browns faked the injury? Is the NFL complicit in stalling rising stars like Sanders? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if you're done with the secrecy and ready for some honesty in this league. Because real talent deserves better than this. And we all deserve a game that respects it. Here's the part that really twists the knife. This isn't even about on-field performance anymore. Shedeur showed up. In camp, in drills, and film. He did everything that rookies are told to do. Work hard, show leadership, stay focused, stay humble. And still it wasn't enough. Because it never really is when you're walking into a system built on hierarchy, not merit. From the outside, the NFL sells this dream of competition, that the best players rise, that if you're good enough, you'll play. But what we're seeing now with Sanders blows a hole right through that fantasy. Because when talent threatens comfort, comfort usually wins. And that's what this whole situation smells like, a franchise choosing comfort over courage. The Browns had a moment, a real, tangible opportunity to say, let's go for it. Let's see what this kid can do. Let's shake up the narrative. But instead, they caved to fear. Not fear of injury. Fear of embarrassment. Fear of having their hand-picked roster decisions questioned. Fear of what it means when a rookie quarterback walks in and outshines the plan. And look, this isn't just about one guy getting benched. It's about what this decision represents. The ongoing rot within a league that loves to market fresh faces, but doesn't actually want to empower them. Because empowering someone like Shedeur Sanders, that means giving up control. That means letting go of pre-approved narratives and letting the game actually play out. But franchises like the Browns don't want that. They want the illusion of competition without the chaos of unpredictability. And Sanders, he's unpredictable. He's marketable. He doesn't just bring football talent. He brings attention. He brings eyeballs. And when those eyeballs start drifting away from your golden boy and toward the rookie with actual firepower, that's when the injury report suddenly becomes the most convenient tool in the building. Here's the thing. Fans aren't stupid. They know what's going on. They can read between the lines. The NFL might be $1 billion brand, but the people watching from the stands and behind the screens, they know what suppression looks like. They know when a player is being shelved, not because he's hurt, but because someone in a suit felt threatened. And that's what makes this sting even more. Sanders didn't just lose reps. He lost momentum. He lost crucial developmental time. And for what? To protect an aging starter's ego? To preserve a depth chart that already wasn't working? Let's not forget, this is the Cleveland Browns. A franchise that has tried everything, from rotating quarterbacks like a broken record, to swapping head coaches like socks. And the one time they might have accidentally stumbled into a player with real future potential, they hit the brakes. Hard. It's like watching someone trip over treasure and then bury it again because they don't like the way it shines. The message to Sanders is loud and clear. Wait your turn, kid. Even if your turn should already be here. Even worse, this kind of move doesn't just hurt Sanders. It echoes throughout locker rooms across the league. Because what does it say to every other rookie grinding in the background, hoping for a shot? That meritocracy is a lie. That your breakout moment is always one franchise decision away from being labeled not right now. There's a reason fans are furious. It's not just sympathy, it's recognition. People see themselves in that story. The underdog showing promise, doing the work, only to be blocked by politics, ego, or some invisible checklist they were never allowed to see. This isn't a football story anymore. This is a story about control. And the NFL has a long history of choosing control over innovation, control over youth, control over change. The league loves to celebrate the idea of disruption until it happens in real time, until someone like Sanders shows up and starts bending the arc. And in that moment, suddenly the game isn't about talent. It's about narrative containment, which brings us back to the Browns. Because if you take a step back, what are they really trying to protect here? A legacy of mediocrity? A quarterback room that hasn't produced results in years? What's so fragile in Cleveland that it can't survive the pressure of one young quarterback looking ready for a shot? It's not about protecting the team. It's about protecting egos. And let's be honest, Shedeur Sanders isn't the first player to be sidelined by politics. He won't be the last. But what makes his case hit harder is how obvious the manipulation is. It's not subtle. It's not hard to miss. It's right there, in the inconsistency of the reports, in the cryptic coach quotes, in the lack of urgency to clarify anything to the media or fans. They're hoping it just fades away, that people stop asking, that the news cycle spins forward, and no one holds him accountable for robbing a rookie of momentum. But they're forgetting something. Shedeur has a spotlight, and it's not going anywhere. His name carries weight. His story matters. And fans want to see him. Not because of the last name, not because of hype, but because he showed signs of being that guy, a game changer, a spark. And that's exactly why the Browns are trying to dim him before he really lights up. They can bury the reps, delay the debut, drown the story in ambiguity. But the demand isn't going anywhere, because once you've seen a glimpse of something real, it's hard to forget. And this was real. Shedeur Sanders didn't need a season to prove it. He needed one opportunity. And even that was too much for Cleveland. If you're a fan, this should infuriate you. If you're a player, this should concern you. And if you're the league, this should scare you. Because if the culture continues like this, where potential is punished and promise is postponed, then what exactly are we celebrating on Sundays? It's not just about one team mishandling a rookie. It's about a system that consistently chooses silence over progress. And it's getting harder to ignore. Let's just say it. The Browns are playing scared. Scared of what Shedeur might prove. Scared of the shift in power dynamics. Scared that he might win over fans faster than the guy they've already committed to. So instead of rising to the challenge, they're hiding behind a clipboard and a fake diagnosis. There's no glory in that. No leadership. No vision. Just control disguised as caution. And at some point it needs to break. Because if the NFL keeps letting teams rewrite reality with zero transparency, then fans will start questioning everything. Every injury. Every benching. Every precautionary move. And that's how you lose trust. Not just in teams, but in the league itself. Shedeur Sanders deserved better. Not just because of what he brings to the field, but because of what this league pretends it stands for. Competition, excellence, opportunity. But apparently, not when it threatens the existing script. This whole saga is eerily quiet. No major press conference. No bold front office defense. Just soft-spoken excuses, vague updates, and a team hoping the store will pass without having to answer for the stunt they pulled. It's like watching someone throw a rock and then calmly walk away, pretending their hands are clean, but fans aren't buying it. Because when you bench a quarterback with that much promise and offer nothing substantial in return, people start connecting the dots. This isn't the NBA. You don't rest a rookie quarterback. You don't sideline a breakout performer from training camp unless something behind the curtain is going very wrong, or very right, depending on how you define threatening the establishment. And that's what Sanders represents. Threat, not to the league itself, but to the fragile ego scaffolding holding up teams like the Browns. He's young, he's dynamic, he's got media appeal, and most importantly, he doesn't fit neatly into the dusty, conservative blueprint that franchises like to follow. You can't coach charisma. You can't bench magnetism. But you can try to smother it before it becomes a problem. Let's not sugarcoat it. Shedeur Sanders walks into a room and shifts the energy. That's not bravado. That's presence. And if you're an insecure front office or a head coach clinging to a system that hasn't worked in years, that kind of presence is terrifying. It's unpredictable. It can be packaged or controlled. It forces you to reevaluate the players you've already overpaid or overhyped. It asks questions the team doesn't want to answer. Questions like, why hasn't this guy played yet? Why is your offense still flatlining? Why are you hiding your most exciting asset behind a non-existent injury? And when fans start asking those questions, you can feel the panic radiating from the PR department because there's no good answer. The facts are simple. Sanders earned a shot. He didn't get it. And the reason why has nothing to do with his body and everything to do with politics. The NFL has always had a narrative problem. They love a Cinderella story, but only when they can write it themselves. When the arc is safe. When it follows the rules. When it ends with a tearful post-game interview and a Gatorade commercial. But real disruption? The kind that happens in spite of the system. Not because of it. That gets buried. That's why Shedeur's story stings. Because it feels like we're watching yet another moment where real potential is being deliberately paused. Not because he's not ready, but because the franchise isn't. And let's talk about what this says to other rookies. What message does this send to players stepping into the league, hoping that if they shine in camp, they'll be rewarded? It says, not so fast. Be exceptional, but not too fast. Be confident, but not too loud. Be talented, but not disruptive. Because if you move too quickly, if you dare to outshine someone you weren't supposed to, there's always a clipboard and an injury update waiting with your name on it. This is the part where the NFL should step in, where league leadership should ask hard questions and demand transparency from the Browns. But they won't, because acknowledging this kind of manipulation means admitting that the system is rigged in ways they don't want to fix, that it's not about the best athletes playing. It's about the most convenient narratives being protected. So Shedeur waits, and fans wait, and the league pretends that this isn't a scandal worth addressing. But let's be honest, it is a scandal. It's a quiet one, a surgical one, but it's just as damaging as any public blow-up. Because when you fake an injury to sideline talent, you're not just manipulating a roster, you're manipulating hope. And fans feel that. They feel it in every botched QB rotation, in every vague tweet from a team account, in every press conference where coaches dance around the truth with empty phrases like load management and long-term development. It's exhausting, it's insulting, and it's becoming way too common. Shedeur Sanders doesn't need the league's permission to be great. He just needs a fair shot. And that's exactly what's being denied to him right now. Not because he's unprepared, but because someone upstairs is unprepared for him. This moment is bigger than just one player. It's about the quiet suppression of rising stars who aren't afraid to shine outside the lines. It's about a league that says it wants the next big thing, until the next big thing shows up unannounced. So no, we're not going to stop talking about it, because this story isn't over. Not even close. And when Sanders finally gets his chance, and he will, this moment is going to come back, loudly. People will remember how hard the franchise tried to hide him, how hard the league tried to ignore him, and how, despite all of that, he still broke through. If you're with us on this, hit that like button. Share this with someone who's just as tired of the politics. And let us know in the comments, what do you think is really going on behind the scenes? And don't forget to subscribe, because the game might be played on Sundays, but the real drama, that unfolds all week long.